Six, five, four, three, two, one.
Good evening, all. Superfan Dan from California. Good to see you all. Good evening to those of you over in on Tyneside and in the UK, and wherever you are in the world. Good evening. Barcode Banter is back at long last. We've got several of the American guys together. It's International Week, so we just thought we'd get together and have a discussion about the season, what we're seeing, what we're noticing, things that are going on in the States. You know, we could talk about the summer series that happened, or the fan fest that happened this past summer. All kinds of things. So, but we've got Eddie and John O'Hare in the background. So, just a couple of reminders. We'll just get these out of the way. Please like, share, and subscribe, and also hype the channel after the show is finished and gets produced. You can join the channel for as little as 99p a month, or donate using the super chat. All of the donations, of course, go into the running of the channel, and then also we use it for bringing on guests and donate to their favorite charities when they're on. So please adhere to standard community guidelines, keep comments respectful, and of course, enjoy the show. Leslie was in the background. Leslie's had to jet, so she's not hanging around. We've got Nubadoc in there, so let's bring on some of the guys. Oh, there's Blade is on. Good evening, Blade. Let's bring on, there's Eddie, and there's Jack.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hi, everybody.
Good to see you, brothers. It's always a pleasure.
It's been a long time. I didn't realize you had the beard going, Eddie.
It's been 3 months since I retired, so.
I know, it's great. It's great. Hey, I wanted to say something before we get started.
Sure.
On this Veterans Day, I wanted to say thank you for your service, one and all. And Eddie, thank you for your service. I know you just retired. Job well done.
Thanks, brothers. I really appreciate it. You guys too. All the time you all put in. So we appreciate all of y'all.
Happy Veterans Day to you both. And yes, Eddie, Semper Fidelis, man.
Semper Fi.
Yeah.
Semper Fi.
Who Devil Dog. So, how you guys doing? It's been, well, I haven't seen Eddie since January, I guess.
January.
And Jack, I haven't seen you since May. Yeah. So
May's the last time at the last match that I even had a beer.
I'm
trying to make it till the end of this year, and then we'll just see. But
there you go.
It's been good. It's been healthy. I've sampled a lot of Guinness Zero and Heineken Zero, and I like both of those, and Peroni. But yeah, I'm just trying to take care of my health. I'm 67 years old now, and I'm feeling it.
Jack, I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you, Jack, with the NA beer. I hardly drink any beer that's got real alcohol in it, so I'm with you on that.
Yeah. It's kind of a big trend, and actually here in the States, a lot of the microbreweries are like going broke, which is sad because I thought they're like following my life. You know, I supported them way hard, and now I'm dropping off.
Is it a fair thing to say that, you know, not the millennials, but the next generation, the Gen Z folks, you know, as they're coming of age, you know, a lot of them aren't drinking. A lot of them are a lot more health conscious. You know, if they are drinking, it's usually, you know, wine. I think they're steering clear of beer and spirits. I think, you know, and very much in moderation. So, I mean, it's been an interesting development. The nice thing about the NA culture is, I mean, in England, Eddie, we've seen it firsthand while we were over in Newcastle. I mean, there are lots and lots of options when
Yeah.
you're when you're in England. You know, there's Moretti Zero, there's Heineken Zero, there's Guinness Zero, there's Peroni Zero, there's
I don't,
there's
I don't,
Corona Zero, for crying out loud.
yeah,
So,
I had one of those. Yeah. Not only that, it tastes better than it did 10 years ago. I don't know what they're doing, but it's like, it tastes like a regular beer, but it just, I don't have as many health issues later. So, so it's,
maybe you guys are inspiring me. Maybe I need to check this thing out. I've been drinking a lot of Alvarado Street Brewery here in Monterey. They and Salinas, they have what they call froth water, and it's just it's just hopped sparkling water, and I find myself drinking it by the case, because it's just delicious. Of all the flavored sparkling waters, it's the one I like the most.
Sure.
And especially for you guys on the West Coast, where you wake up and drink at 7 a.m. for a match day, it's like, start out with that stuff, Yeah.
It took me a little while to realize I didn't have to drink just regular beer at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning. And that's when I turned on the NA beer, and I was like, maybe this is the way to go. And
well, I encourage,
it's a little rough.
I also encourage people, like, when they're really pounding it, it's like, man, have a water in between, like, those next 3 beers, have a big glass of water. Just
I think it was Isaac on Ted Lasso. He says, look, we got it. After they won the big match, I'm trying to remember which one it was, but Isaac, as he was leaving the locker room, it's like, okay, it's gonna be a lot of drinking, but we've got lots more season to play. So, guys, remember, 1 glass of water for every alcoholic beverage. I'm trying to, Jack. The last time we did this, we've got a lot more comments now, than when we first started doing this. So I'm bouncing around, just trying to make sure.
Go ahead.
No, Blade is throwing one to Eddie, saying after the last game we need to send the Marines into the training ground.
I like it.
Eddie's decision to leave Burn on with a yellow. Yep. It was lots of stuff to talk about. Adam Quinn, nice to see you, sir. So let's just start this. There was an interesting article in the BBC today that asked, if you could reinvent football, what would you change?
I got one.
Yeah.
Timeouts. You can just see everything cratering, and you go, God dang it, I wish I had a timeout. Take a minute with the squad, talk to them, get them fired up, tell them, you got to stop doing this, and you pass to him. Do you hear me? I would love to see that.
As loud as Mad Dog is, and as loud as Eddie can probably get, I'm sure they would appreciate an opportunity to just pull the 11 into a 1-minute timeout, 30-second timeout, whatever it might be, and say, let's refocus. What are we doing? What are our thoughts? And let's get back at it. 'Cause boy, oh boy, I think especially the last couple of match days, you could see it unravel a little bit.
Yeah.
And you wish you could hit that pause button and say, hey, let's rethink what we're doing. But boy, oh boy, it's been a little rough the last 2 for sure.
One other thing, this is just me. It's like, have you ever watched, I used to watch a lot of hockey. I used to play hockey in high school, and the way they change, they're on for 2 minutes and they're running and skating as hard as they can. And they come out, they tap out and go get a breather, and the next squad comes on, And I wondered, what would it be like if football was like that, where you could take a breather, get a guy off, get him hydrated, whatever it is, and jump back in there. And of course, we get five substitutions,
5 subs, and once they're off, they're off. So
for the whole game, so it's like, it's a totally different mindset. And, I know they say, well, we have to run the whole game. Well, those hockey players are just as tired as anybody after a 3-hour match, but that was always an interesting thought. I know you'd be completely changing the game if you did any of these things, and it would be hard for everyone to adjust to. But the way we've had injuries and that kind of thing too, timeouts and subs would be a really good thing for a team like us.
I go back, and when I started following football, 30 plus years ago, the game, you were allowed 3 subs, and they didn't, and not one of them had to be a keeper. The expectation was your starting guy was going to be in goal for the whole of the match. And if your keeper got injured, well, then somebody that was on the pitch was going to don the gloves, and you were going to throw on another guy. And hopefully the guy who's taken over for the injured keeper is a good shot stopper, or at least tall enough to jump in the air and grab the ball. Not just punch it away. So, so those are.
So I'm not actually proposing that happen. I just think it would be interesting, as I watch a game, especially our games, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could have a timeout, or, whoa, let's get these 3 guys off there, gassed, get 3 fresh legs out there and then bring them back. I'm not proposing that we actually do this, but I think it would make it interesting. And I don't know that anybody would accept it, but I think it would make it interesting.
Nuba is in the comments, saying that the whole idea of stopping the clock each time the ball isn't in play, and then reducing the game from 90 minutes to 60 minutes. I mean, a typical football game is 60 minutes, but it takes 3.5 hours to play. That's always been the beauty of the beautiful game. Is it's 90 minutes and it's done in 90 minutes. I find it. Go ahead, Teddy.
I was going to say, unless you're Liverpool.
Yeah, that's right. You get an extra 17 minutes.
Though right now, I'm sure they're wishing their games were a lot shorter the way they're playing. So
yeah, you know what? What's funny? It's only 2 hours and it's done, and we talk about it all week. It's like it goes on forever, in our minds.
The hardest part for me watching soccer here on the peninsula, of course, we've got Monterey Bay, but then using the same facility, because it's on the college campus, we get a chance to watch the men and women's soccer programs play in Cardinale Stadium as well. The biggest adjustment for me watching college soccer is they start the clock at 45 minutes and count backwards. There is no extra time. When the clock hits 0, that's the end of the half. The clock only stops when there's substitutions being made and open subs. You can sub out players as often as you want during the game. Yeah. So, just like you said, Jack, I mean, just seeing, that guy's gassed. Let's get him off, get some Gatorade in him, or an energy gel or something like that. Let him get, catch his breath, this, that, and the other, and do that. I mean, wouldn't it have been great if we could have done that with Dan Byrne this last weekend? Call him down. He's got your number. Stay out of the box.
Right.
Let Sven do it. But then, Sven wasn't having a great game either. So you saw
he looked slow.
You saw Chow trying to make up for both of them, and if he's making up for both of them, who's got his back? So it was. I think you could tell. I think you could tell starting generally the same 11, 3 games in a week was starting to show the wear and tear, and I think we saw that season before last when we attempted the Champions League, and we're a deeper squad now than we were then. We have more depth this season than we did then, and it's still taking a toll, but we're also not rotating. Again, Dan Byrne was playing left back because we have no options. We have no other options. Matt Target, we sent out on loan, and he's going to finish out his career at his contract at Middlesbrough. Lewis Hall is injured, or he was on the bench, and he obviously came on, but what we've seen in past seasons, whenever a guy's been out injured for 2 months, 3 months, we've always hurried him back, and then we run the risk of getting them injured again for longer this time. Look at Botman last season. We rushed him back. He was playing through the pain barrier with injections and stuff, and it did him no good. And he was out for the better part of 6 months. So, but yeah, I just if I like that. Hold on. Let me. One of the comments here. Thanks, Eddie Contreras. At sport camp, they used to allocate a point for corner kicks, so the game ended a draw. It goes to the team with the most corner kicks.
Wow.
Back in, I want to say 96, 97, I had a coworker who, was a referee, a USF, a US Soccer Federation licensed referee and stuff. And he used to say one of the things he'd like to see is like side goals, like the little pop-up goals that coaches use for little league stuff. Put them on the sidelines, on the sidelines between the half and the corner, and you could score, a half a point for each one of those that you put in. I just had, good God, man, just all those goals all over the place.
A little Gaelic football, a little Australian rules football style.
or hell, extend the goalposts up, and we'll just, if you put it over the bar, you scored, 2 points or something like that.
That's funny.
Go ahead, Eddie.
No, I was just gonna say that would be interesting to watch, but boy, oh boy, we'll end up having games of 23-12 or something.
Yeah.
I love the one comedian that pops up in my social media feed every once in a while. He says, the number of people who complain that soccer is such a low scoring game, go look at American football, for crying out loud. Those games that are 63 to 7. Well, really, it's 9-1. You're just multiplying by 3. Everything else is fantasy points. So now I realize that's simplifying, 6, and then hopefully make the extra kick, the extra point. But blah blah blah. I digress.
I didn't see the article that you referenced about what would you change about football, but it's almost like something has to change, because you think about teams are in like 4 competitions each year, and like the top echelon players are playing a lot more games and prone to a lot more injuries, which reduces their career. And so, like in this country, the labor unions would get involved. The strong, like Major League Players Association or the NFL Players Association would say, "Hey, look, man, we're going to stretch out the season because you're just killing our guys, and we're going to institute like what do you call it? A week where there's no game for this team or that team." And so I'm thinking that the players eventually will kind of push for that, although they don't seem to be as strongly organized over there. You're owned by the team since you were 12, 13 years old. But it's a bigger thing here where you got to balance things out. Yes, the Premier League and UEFA, they want to make as much money as possible. So they keep adding things. They keep experimenting, like, let's move some games from Europe over to the US and generate a lot of money. It's like, you're going to have to stop some of that stuff, or at least counteract it with some rational things, and to protect the players.
Yeah. Well, and the number of not only domestically, when you're talking about a club participating in or competing in 4 different competitions, just take the Prem. You're playing in the Prem. You're playing in the League Cup, the Carabao Cup. You're participating in the FA Cup, and then if you're lucky, you get into a European competition. Then you take the same caliber player, the best players, and then they're also representing their nations and flying halfway around the world to go play international games during these international weeks. So some of these guys, and we've seen this now over the last decade, some of these guys have been playing, 50, 60 games in a year, and that's wear and tear. But then, I just saw a quote from CR7 this morning that says, he will retire in the next 2 years. He said, but this next World Cup next summer is is definitely his last World Cup. Well, he's going to be 41 years old, for Christ's sake.
I know. But you know what he does? He go ahead, Eddie.
I was gonna say, if you ask my daughter Mila, she'll tell you he should have retired like 2 years ago.
Well, yes.
Good on her.
Which brings up a whole nother thing, is a lot of these players, that are trudging through all these games right now. A lot of them are getting ready or fighting for a spot on their respective World Cup rosters.
Right.
And so now they're playing a little shy. They're playing a little bit reserved, maybe
Yeah,
even. And where does
yeah,
that come into play with the amount of games that they've played? It's to me they're beating these players. I mean, obviously they get a great wage and all these things for the most part, but I think they're milking these players for everything they've got, and these players are
absolutely,
looking at their lifeline.
absolutely.
How many more years can I do this for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know
Well,
what they're doing.
and
You know what they're doing. You're speaking of Ronaldo, right? He's done what people over in here in this country do in sports, like LeBron James, is they train all year round,
Yeah.
so that when the season starts, they're not rusty and they're trying to get in game shape. They're ready, And he's taking care of his body like LeBron and some other people here that have long careers. Tom Brady, would just like work out all year round. And it has to happen that way. It used to be, you go back to beer drinking and hanging out with your buddies. Once the season's over, I'm on holiday. Yeah, it's
come back 2 stone heavier because you've done nothing but drink Heineken all summer. Yeah.
yeah,
No, but to Eddie's point, you want to say, the clubs are paying their wages. They're being professional. Like Eddie just said, some of them are, shying out of tackles, that kind of stuff, because they don't want to get injured in a World Cup qualifying year. And then on these international breaks, they go all out and play like hell for their international teams because they want to be on that World Cup roster next summer.
yeah.
And then they end
interesting.
up hurting themselves. Like, I mean, come on, guys. We spent $57 million or euros on Visa. And we have yet to see him kick a ball in a black and white shirt.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is like, it'll be interesting to see what he does for this World Cup. Because I'll tell you what, if I was one of the guys on the bench, it'd be like, hey, man, you better do a favor for the club, man. They went all out for you and pulled you out of a situation where you had already decided you weren't going to train with them. Ooh, it would have been bad news to be there. And we pulled you out. So you better think about this.
So I got lots of comments here, obviously on our walking wounded. We're seeing Lewis Hall coming back. We saw video footage of Tino Livramento on grass. You could see him walking down that little slope at Benton. Being very ginger, making sure he wasn't running down, he wasn't jumping down, he certainly wasn't going to try and slip. We're seeing those guys come back. Visa is, I'm hoping, around the corner. He was supposed to be available by this international window. He's not just yet. I've seen reports that he could be out until January, February. I'm hoping that's not the case. Baz has jokingly said, he can always retire from the Congo team and then get through the season. And when it comes time for World Cup, he can unretire and then, put himself up for selection. But yeah, obviously we've got guys folks in the comments who are saying we need to be ginger with these guys. We don't want to rush them back. Just like I said with Botman, bringing these guys back too quickly and then they get re-injured and they can be out for longer. That just hurts us more. Several more people with other ideas on how to change the game of football. There's the introduction of the sin bin. We've heard that one talked about, like in hockey, where you get a blue card or something, and you get to go sit in the box for 2 minutes or 10 minutes because depending on how bad, how egregious the foul was. Changing the offside rule back to something that isn't subjective. I remember when they introduced the passive offside rule, where a player could be in an offside position when the play started, kind of like a decoy, as long as they didn't participate in the scoring play, they weren't offside. But even then we've seen, players called offside when they were supposedly passive, had nothing to do with the play, but yet it was still considered offside. Then you got the goal this last weekend, Man City against Liverpool, where, who was offside and who was onside? We don't know. But Man City scored a goal. So, hey, let's have it. So yeah, It's always, and then of course there's handball. Let's just go back to what the handball was. If you put your hand out to stop the ball, that's a handball. If it bounces off your elbow in the box and just bounces, it can't be a handball. It's not like you were intending that to happen. I go back to, when a defender is sliding in the box to, try and stop a play, if the forward tries to get a pass, a cross off or everything, and the ball ricochets off the player, the sliding player, I challenge anybody, go take a running start and slide feet first anywhere and put your hands in your pockets. No, it's not going to work.
Not gonna happen.
Your body instinctively, fight or flight, your body is always going to put your hands out to block your fall. It's automatic. It's innate. It's in your brain is to protect yourself. If you can get your hand down to cushion the blow, that's what's going to happen. And if the ball strikes that hand, you're not trying to block the ball. You're trying to shield yourself. So how is that making your body bigger or whatever? It's just.
I liked when we really tried to define the handling of the ball as ball to hand versus hand to ball.
And the ball. Yep. Yep.
And that simplified it so much to the point where it kind of almost made it obvious. There was some times where it was kind of questionable, but for the most part, that was probably as close to black and white as we could have gotten with that law of the game. But now it's interesting to see an objective moment be turned into something subjective and literally being made to almost seem like, is it going to benefit the viewing audience to see this exciting moment or this thing happen, whatever it might be. It's very interesting to see it kind of break down the way it's been breaking down over the last few seasons with the handling of the ball.
So just moving on to a couple more discussion points while I've got you two. And Jack, if you've already said in the comments and to us off stage, if you need to leave, if you've got to step away for even a minute, if you find yourself in a position where you got to do that.
Good. No screaming out there.
So we're all Magpie members. We're all Mags, right? On with the club, right?
Absolutely.
You guys all saw this, right?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well,
it
used to be included.
Right.
Yes.
At the beginning of the year, if you signed up for the mags, you'd get some memento. You'd get a key ring or a wallet. I think I got a wallet a couple of years back, and different things. So, it's obviously a business, and we are scrounging for every dollar. And So I don't know. Those people that want to pay it, go ahead and pay it. And those people like us, I think you ought to give it to the kids. But other Mags Plus members, adults, it's like, well, if you have options, you want to buy something, that's fine.
The big thing for us, obviously, over here is, we've got, if you've ordered anything from the online store lately, you'll also see that, there's duties on everything now.
Yeah.
When we bought kits, 4 seasons ago, if you spent over $100, you got free shipping from the UK, for crying out loud.
Yep.
Now you're paying not only for shipping, or if you spend $180 or something, now you get free shipping. But then they tack on whatever the duties are. And so, I mean, if you're customizing a kit, you want a brand new Big Nick jersey, a long sleeve jersey. Then you put the Champions League badges on it. Then you put and the other. You're already talking $200 for a kit, and then you got to pay like $60, $70 on top of that just to get it shipped to you. That's why those of us who have gone over to Newcastle the last couple of times, we've all been going back with our suitcases a little heavier than when we got there. Because we've got friends back home and are sitting there going, well, while you're there, can you get me this kit? And it's obviously easier and it impacts the wallet less that way.
Last time out, I bought another suitcase to bring home.
Yep.
So yeah,
Says,
it's very real.
been guilty of that. Yep, indeed. Let's talk really quickly. Let's talk about this young man.
Yep.
What do you guys think? What are
you go ahead first, Eddie, because I'll just talk everybody's ear off. Go ahead, Eddie.
I think he's the tonic that this club needs in the dressing room, on the field of play. I think his personality. I think what he exhibits as a player. You know, you just got to watch the kid play for 10 or 15 minutes, and you realize this is not your typical 9,
Nope.
or target man 9. Yeah, maybe his game is a little soft with headers, but even then he's improving. But boy, oh boy, his feet. I can't think of even Isak at his best. Big Nick looks smoother, cleaner. His touches are much more deft than even Isak, and I really I'm a big fan. What a major move by the club to bring somebody like that. Now that's the kind of guy that I'd like to see in the black and white for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
I got a chance to see him like one of the first games this year, I think it was. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Right when he came on to play for us. And all I could think of was he's wearing the long sleeve. Everybody else has got the short sleeve. He's got the long baggy pants. He looks like a teenager running around out there. but oh my gosh, he's our teenager. He's our grunge teenager. But he really fell into a good situation. He comes to us when we desperately need somebody. And he was perfect because he was not nervous about this situation at all. And he started scoring goals right away, which was great because the pressure was going to be on somebody if they're replacing Isak. Yeah. And he wasn't really necessarily brought on to replace Isak. We still had Vissa, but of course he got hurt right away.
We've all been hoping we'll see him sooner rather than later.
Gosh.
So
yeah, yep. we could use him up front too, in addition. But he really gets himself out of some jams. And the other teams, they figured him out. He scored a couple goals early, and they put 2 or 3 guys on him now. As soon as the ball goes to him, they close down. They close him off. But he has done a lot for us. I like him. We need more offensive power. You know that. Yeah. So we've got to change something up there. But I think he really helped us out because the pressure was going to be on in replacing Isak. And he just went, I don't care about that, and he just went out and played football.
Blade. Gave him long sleeves and shorts, but he's still wearing socks from Baby Gap. Well, when your legs are 9 feet long, and you're only 6'7". Yeah. Before I move on to my next question, because this brings up my next point that I wanted to talk about with you guys. I got some business I got to do here real quick. Give me just a second. Just a reminder to everybody that you can be a member of Through Black and White Eyes for as little as 99p a month. You can also donate using the super chat function. Remember that the funds that we gather go to operating the channel and for getting guests and donating to their charities as payment for coming on our show. Also need to remind everybody of one of our sponsors, Dire Crow. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me turn off there. There you go. Dire Crow, creators of some very cool Newcastle-based merchandise. Joe Spinney down there in Charlotte, North Carolina. Remember that BAZ20, BAZ20 coupon code will get you 20% off. Also, the multi-award winning Geordieland Experience with our good friend Mark Sparky Buddy and Geordie Lass Fiona. If you are planning a trip to the Northeast and are looking for somebody to point you in the right direction, what to do, things to see, that kind of thing, reach out to the Geordieland Experience. They know everything about what's going on culturally, music events, sporting events, you name it. And Sparky Buddy can also take you on a tour or of the area. And trust me, you put a Red Bull in that guy and you're in for a day. So, and then just a reminder to everybody that we've also going back to a membership, we've raised and donated over £11,000 since we started this
Wow.
channel.
Amazing.
So, and a lot of, all of it has gone to charity. We've benefited the Stanley Deaf Club. We've benefited
Food
the
bank.
Newcastle Fans Food Bank. Lily's, it's Lily. I'm trying to remember what the name of that one was. But we have made quite a few donations over the last couple of years, and we're very proud of that fact. Okay. So we've got a winter transfer window coming up here in January. I have a question for you guys. I think I could do this. Yeah. Okay. Is this our best starting 11?
I think it is. I think it's a great start in 11.
I would love that. I would love it.
Do we think after this latest injury to Nick Pope and the fact that he's been called up to the England squad, I have every expectation that he may travel to join the squad, but I have a feeling he'll probably be third choice and probably won't see any game time. But is it time to see Aaron Ramsdale come in for Nick and give him a break? We can all say many things about Nick Pope. He's a fantastic shot stopper. He's crap with his feet. His distribution is lacking. Where Ramsdale has been breathing down his neck, we've got him on loan. There's talk that we may actually even make his loan a permanent transfer come this winter transfer window. I think he has been an able deputy. We've seen him in the Carabao Cup, both of the Carabao Cup games, and he's played exceptionally well. I'm thinking maybe it's time to see Aaron Ramsdale in the starting lineup for Prem games as well, and possibly even the Champions League. He was good enough to play for Arsenal. He was Eddie brought him to Bournemouth. He got his big break going to Arsenal, but for whatever reason, they decided, bring Ramsdale in. Oh, but David Raya is available, so let's go get him too, which then bumped Ramsdale down to second choice. And then he got his chance to go play in a Southampton team that, let's be frank, just wasn't up to snuff.
Yeah.
So, we've been obviously missing both Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento in the fullback positions. What we've seen out of Botman and Chow has been revolutionary or revelational in the season thus far. That back four could be our back four for the next 4 or 5 seasons. Provided provided everybody can stay fit.
Yeah.
We also see that Tonali brings out the best in Bruno, and Bruno provides the ability for Tonali to do what he does best. We know that we now have competition on both wing positions, but they're not, for whatever reason, they're just not producing as much so far this season as we would like to see out of our wingers. But we've also seen, as we've been playing that 4-3-3 stridently. Eddie doesn't like to shift from that. But I think once Vissa is healthy, I'm thinking that this could be our best 11 and one that might see us, march up the table. So lots of comments talking about the same. Is it time to switch from that 4-3-3 to something more akin to a 4-2-3-1?
You know what I like about this, Dan, is you think about there's a triangle in the back, and it's Hall, Livramento, and Ramsdale. And those three push the ball forward more than what we've been dealing with.
Agreed.
And that's where we have to light this fire stick. We have to get we're lacking goals. And the way you create goals is you push things into the midfield and get that defense to move, and then push it, from there, feed it to Valtamata, who's really good at feeding it back to different people. And I think it would ignite the scoring. I think it would really change, and it would change the way teams have to play us right now. So, yeah, it looks good.
I'll say this, and the most important thing that I could really say right now is this: that on the counter press with the lineup we have right now, as much as I like Dan Burn, as well as he's done as a left back for us at times, we're too slow on the counter press, which eventually keeps us sitting at a low back line. Which, if you watch the West Ham game and you break that West Ham game, boy, oh boy, those two goals, it's nothing special that they did. It was one ball beating two lines, and the second line was too low, and it was just too simple. And it's just because when we try to work on that counter press, we can't get out. We're too slow. You bring Tino into that once he's healthy. You bring Hall back when he's ready to come back, and they're lightning. That counter press starts with those two outside backs.
Yeah, well, and what we've seen with both of those guys, and the fact that we play inverted wingers. We've got Anthony Gordon on the left, we've got Barnes on the right, or we got Murphy on the right, or Alanga on the right, or Barnes on the left. We see our wingers are the guys that tend to pinch, to break, that come in. I think you put a poacher up front, a true 9 like Vissa. You get that guy up there. You get Voltemata in his proper position, where he's able to not only participate in the play, but he's also creating the play. He's the guy he's kind of the quarterback. And we have a couple of those also in midfield in both Tonali and Bruno. Yeah. We could see guys that really can dictate play. If you've got a Voltemata playing behind Vissa, and you've got Gordon and Murphy, or Barnes and Murphy, or Barnes and Alanga, or Gordon and Murphy, those guys are going to cut in order to get shots. They're going to be creating chances with Voltemata, and we're going to see Hall and Tino Livramento overlap. That's what won us the cup. In March was watching Tino Livramento play at left back. He came in, he was the one who provided the cross that, went to Murphy, that Murphy then headed down. I don't think we have not been able to see our best 11 yet. And I think that's been the frustrating thing for all of us, is that we know we have players that are capable of playing the way that Eddie wants to play. We just haven't had a chance to play them yet. Eddie Contreras also says, there's no shame in at 60 minutes pulling either Bruno or Tonali and giving them a break, provided we're in a good shape in the match. That we've scored something, or we're doing well and can be afforded that luxury. We are running both Tonali and Bruno into the ground, and Bruno was sick. I mean, we saw he's not been performing to his best because of whatever malady is currently sweeping through the dressing room. And we've had several guests on the panel who have said, there's definitely an illness that's going around the UK right now that's just sapping energy and sapping people's strength and everything. So
that you just touched on it, Dan. The one problem with us not being able to set up the way we would like is leading to other problems, is leading to players playing out of position or playing too long. They're playing 95 minutes every match. And that leads to further problems like more injuries and that kind of thing. So it's like, it's a snowball effect. It's just like,
thanks, Blade. The reason why I brought up the transfer window that's coming up, obviously I'm thinking we got a lot of money for he who shall not be named, who left the club. We've invested well. I think some would say we probably have Is Sue okay? You got to go?
I don't know. Hold on. I'll check.
Okay, no sweat. Eddie, if we've got money to spend, we're not in PSR trouble. We're not looking to sell anybody. I think that they're going to try. PIF is going to try and
Yes.
strengthen the squad in January. I think. What are the positions that you think we should be looking at? If let's say Aaron Ramsdale's transfer, his loan, we make permanent. Boom, that's done. We're not gonna worry about that one. Where else do we need to spend? Where are we missing depth?
Well, I think we all agree that our greatest frailties have been losing our outside backs.
Yep.
I think we need to look at another left back to be a deputy for Lewis Hall, and same thing with Tino. I think that's a big deal. I think we do need another striker, another striker, because Wissa is as he's done well throughout his career, but Wissa is an unknown right now still.
He is,
and we don't know the long term. For him, he's going to be his injury is going to be prolonged a little bit longer now. How much longer is this going to go? So if we're going to rely just on Voltemada, which I like him, but again, he's not an outright goal scoring player. I think we need to be looking at that also.
I agree. I was saying we've got several options at right back. If Tino's healthy, we think we can all argue he's the starter. He's our first choice. Trippier is not getting any younger. He's soon to be 35. Baz asked the question in the last show: is it time for us to possibly look at cashing in on some of our resources that we know we can get at least a little bit of coin from? There's apparently teams on the continent that are interested in trips. And he was thinking about leaving. Last Christmas. The possibility, but I think he's settled now. But again, he's not getting any younger. I would love to see him stick around and be more of that academy coach and help the younger kids come through. We are definitely looking to play or to build on our youth structure, our academy structure. We're looking to bring those young kids through the program and getting them first team places or we're in the process of growing players, building players to then sell on, like we've seen so many other clubs do, the Chelseas and the Man Cities of the league and such. Let's see. I think we definitely need another attacker because if Asula is now injured and could be injured for a couple of weeks, we've got the only option is to run Nick into the ground.
Right.
And we've seen this. We've seen this over the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think we can all agree the summer window was supposed to be transformative for us. We were supposed to finally be in a position where PSR is in the rearview mirror. We weren't being hampered there. We weren't being forced to sell in order to buy. And because of the lack of a director of football, because of the lack of a CEO, everything was moving in slow motion. And we saw Eddie going up to the end of last season saying, any business that we're doing, we need to do quickly, right at the start of the summer, so that these guys come in, get bedded in with the group. We all go to the preseason together. We all get to know each other better. Hi, Kian.
Handsome boy.
He is. That's the first time I've seen him since he was an infant. Goodness me.
He's a big boy.
He's 2 years old now.
He is.
Yeah.
Was he the one that wasn't feeling well?
Yeah. Now he's running around like crazy, but he
feeling better.
Like 105 temperature yesterday.
Oh, goodness me.
Like, boom, run him right to urgent care.
Hi, Dan.
Can you put that back in there?
They said hi, Dan.
Hi,
They can't hear you because I got the earbuds in.
It's all right. No, so an extra attacker. I mean, yeah. Here we've got.
Tell me when I should come out.
The Mackems have got 3 strikers. We've got 2.5 at this point. And maybe 2 combining both Asula and Vissa. And supposedly we could get Endrick on loan in January. Trips would be amazing on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Let's see. PIF is ready to move on and prepared for the worst. I don't know. I've got a question I'm saving. Eddie's asked a question. Edward has asked a question real quick. Oh, shoot. That's not a good thing if Endrick is talking to another club. Yeah, I would like to see Trips. He said he had, I've seen a previous interview with him last season where he said he's prepared to step down in the leagues if he has to go all the way down to League 2 as long as he can keep playing. But that was a year ago. Who knows what his body is telling him now? He's been an able-bodied deputy to Tino. Obviously, he's been arguably our best defensive. Has Baz says, or Gary said he's been the best right back he's ever seen at the club.
Wow.
And he came at the right time. Here's a guy who didn't even flinch when we were in 19th, 18th place. And here's a guy that wanted to come home to England for at that time, the betterment of his family. They all were missing they were all missing England and wanted to come home. We could say that either worked good or didn't work good for him. But in any case, I would like to see Trippier stick around at the club. You could see the rapport he has with his teammates. You could see him and the benefits, the leadership positions that he brings to our dressing room. Even that first season when he was injured on crutches in the dressing room, he was still impactful when it came to making sure that our guys stayed even keeled. So Eddie wants to know, when we get everybody back and we start to do well, if we start to pick up points, is Eddie out of the hot seat? I would argue he's not in the hot seat at this point.
He's off the hot seat if we start getting points, but I don't know that I buy in on the premise either. I think everybody gets all riled up. And how do you know that half of those people aren't Sunderland fans or Liverpool fans? Just kicking people over here and trying to get them stirred up about, Eddie's out now. It's like, just settle down.
Well,
if you listen to the show, you heard the issues that are affecting the team, and he's dealing with that. He's having to wrestle with that. Do I start Dan Burn again on the left side? Well, what's his option? So I think we're good. But you know what? These next 4 matches, there's no gimmies. No. I don't think we're not gonna pull out of it right away. No. We're just not.
No, but I think if we can start to see, I think Botman has been stuck. I think he has not been performing up to standard. Dan Burn has been playing at left back out of necessity. I think you see Lewis Hall come back. Lewis Hall arguably was player of the season last season before he got injured. I think you see Lewis Hall come back. I could see Dan Burn moving to center back. I could also see Dan Burn getting a break, and we see maybe Fabian Scher came in, and give Botman a minute. He and Scher and Chow have looked good together. Let's keep in mind, Chow only got his chance because Fab's got a concussion, right. and he just started playing so well that I could see us going in for another center back. If a possibility lends itself, because again, Fabian Scher and Dan Burn aren't getting any younger. We've got 32 and 33 now. They're going to be great squad players and great leaders in the dressing room, but maybe not guaranteed, starting minutes in the Prem or the Champions League, even though they've both performed admirably in both of those competitions for us.
Yeah.
I don't. Lots of talk about. There's talking about Amanda and everything in the. Alex Murphy keeps training with the first team.
Yes,
but Well, so Benny Boy, you asked a question about Alex Murphy, and what we've seen Alex Murphy so far has been he's training with the first team, but I don't think he's ready to play for the first team just yet. He got minutes in preseason. There were a couple of games where he looked adequate, but I wouldn't say prem quality. And he played fine in the Carabao Cup, but maybe that's where he gets some minutes. I think it might be time to send him out on loan and get him some first team minutes, regular first team minutes, maybe to a championship club and see what we can do. But at the same time, look at the guys that we've got out on loan now. I mean, Cordero isn't getting any minutes for the team that he's on loan with.
Right.
That Target, I think, is the only one that's playing regularly. When we need a left back, all of a sudden, we don't have one available. But I mean, I think we could all agree that we probably have moved past him as well. He was a great servant in that first season when he came in on loan right after the takeover, and then we made his move permanent. But then he's had all those injury problems. So I'm glad to see him getting back to playing fitness. But I think maybe championship is where his level is. So hold on. Baz mentioned, Eddie's posture is changing to defeatist. I
don't think he's playing. I don't quite agree with that. I think the players he has to put into those match days is put him in a position where he has to play lower and lower, deeper towards the goal. I don't know if it's, and I don't think it's Eddie's tactics. I think it's the players he has at hand. I mean, we can talk left back, right back all day. You have Tino and you have Lewis Hall in the match day. People will be praising how well we're attacking, how we're countering.
That's true.
But he's playing the card that he's dealt right now. I can't fault him for that. I will say this: 21 points between now and Boxing Day. 21 points, 21 Premier League points between today and Boxing Day.
Yep.
And I'd be interested, just for me personally, if I may, what your thoughts are on how many points we can come out of this, get to Boxing Day with. Having the Mackins on 14.
Eddie, I haven't looked at the whole schedule recently to see what 7 games come up. I know Sunderland's in there. I know Man City's in there. But
Man U's in there. Everton's in there. And we played Burnley twice.
Burnley, that helps us. That helps us a lot. But better focus on those games.
Playing West Ham was supposed to help us too, Jack.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't see in the next 4 matches that we're going to break out of this slump yet. In other words, we'll fight a tough game even maybe, and maybe we'll play really good against Man City, but maybe we get a draw or a loss. Okay. People are going to go nuts. And it's like, stop it. You know what the issues are. Stop. This plane is not ready to take off yet. But when Hall and Livramento are back, when Wiss is on the field, it's going to be a whole different ball game.
That's the hope. I think we're all arguing that's the hope. The big thing for us at this very moment, the one surety that we have is when Man City come to St. James's Park after this international break on the 22nd, or is it the Sunday? I think it's the Sunday. No, it's the Saturday. It's Saturday. It's 9:30 in the morning for us, isn't it, Eddie?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. We know that Dan Byrne won't be on the pitch.
That's right.
He's banned. So Eddie's going to have to make a choice. He's either going to have to play Lewis Hall from jump and hope that he can get at least 60 minutes out of him.
Yeah.
Then the big question is, who does he bring on in his place?
Right. How do you shift the resources around? Because that's one less card he will have in this next game. People are expecting us to break out of this because we've had 2 weeks to rest or whatever, right? And it's like, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. We've got one less card to play in this game, it's gonna be difficult. It's just gonna be difficult.
As to Eddie's point, and now Ed Contreras is saying in the comments, these next 3 matches, City, and then we've got City coming up, then we've got Burnley, is it?
Everton
No,
away.
Everton away, and then we've got Burnley at home, and then the Mackems, right?
And well, we got a couple
Oh,
of
then we have we have a couple of Champions League games, and of course
Right.
we have Fulham in there in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. So I mean,
And we got Marseille in there, right?
exactly. We've got matches that are Leverkusen's coming up. We got away to Leverkusen. We've got away to Marseille. So I mean, we've got lots of games coming up. But if we're focusing, and for whatever reason, we play well in the Champions League, we play well in the Carabao Cup. We get to the Prem and we just shit the bed. And for whatever reason, we just haven't been able to find that togetherness, that stick-to-itiveness to get points in the Prem. I'm not ready to sign off on the Prem just yet. As lots of people have pointed out, last season we were in a similar position, and then all of a sudden, we started to put a run together, and not only did we get Champions League football, but we also won our first cup in 70 years. So, but we're also competing in yet another competition on top of that, which was the goal that we were striving for last season. So it's once we've got all of our tools, all of our pieces available, I think we're going to start seeing some stuff. We have to get there. I don't know how far off Vissa is. I don't know how far off Tino is. We've seen Lewis Hall come on, and as soon as he comes on, the game changes. We may not be getting the results that we need. We're not seeing the best. We're not seeing the best out of form out of Joe Linton lately. We're not seeing. I would much rather have Ramsey or Willock, for that matter, in that midfield before I'd start Joe Linton again. And for crying out loud, wear real shin pads. Go
ahead, Eddie. Eddie had something he was going to say.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Last season at this point, through 11 match days, we're just 6 points off of where we were last season. The big difference is the injuries.
Playing in the Champions League, there's more games there.
Absolutely. And then to Ed Contreras' comment, which I do agree with, I think if we get into the mid-December and we go through the Mackems and it doesn't go the way we want it to go, what does that do? Does that destabilize Eddie's position a little bit more? If it is destabilized at this point, which I don't think it is, but that's going to be a tough emotional kind of. December is going to be a rough month if we can't get this right. 21 points to play for in the Prem. 21 points up for grab between now and Boxing Day. It's a lot of points on the board.
Yeah. That point that we were discussing, Edward Contreras put up there about, I think the pressure will completely intensify on Eddie. He's right. The three of us, we would agree that it shouldn't be as bad as it is, pressure on Eddie. But the fan base is going to be losing it these next 5-6 games if we're really struggling. And we could be, we could be.
So Dan, what do you think about the idea of, would you take a not greatest Premier League season in the history of the club, but have an amazing Champions League run? Would you make that trade-off?
Here's the thing. If you win the whole thing, you get to play in it again next season. So,
sure.
If we could be in a position where we could come in, 8th, 9th, 7th, somewhere there, mid-table, but we do really, really well in the Champions League. As long as we stay in those European spots, we want to be in the Champions League year in, year out. There's no shame in getting Europa Conference League or Europa League and doing a great run in the Champions League, and proving that we belong in that competition.
Right.
But at the same time, we're still putting the pieces together. We're putting the band back together. We're taking the shag off of Murph and the Magic Tones, speakers. We're working on it. I think it's going to come. It's just not going to come overnight. I think there have been a lot of fans, first of all, who are seeing this team, playing the best that they've played in their lives. A lot of the younger guys, and they've kind of gotten, I hate to say it, they've kind of gotten spoiled for choice, those of us who suffered 14 years under Ashley, those of us who went through the Dalglish and Hewlett days and Glenn Roeder and Alan Pardue and all those kinds of
I like Pardue. I like Pardue.
we have seen this place, we have seen this club at worse, and we're not that club anymore. So I'm excited to see where we go. Would I like to see us play, Eddie, to your point, would I like to see us get up into fifth again like we did last season and or go on a run where we get, where we win 9-10 games in a row or something like that? That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
It all comes down to, do we have all of our parts, and can we get the best out of this squad? In Eddie, we trust.
Yeah, one thing to think about, we're doing well in the Champions League so far, and the further you go, it's very lucrative. And nowadays, it's all about the money. It's like it really helps us if we go far. Even if we don't make Champions League next year, we get that money to spend for other resources that can really help us. But of course, we all want to see us do well in every competition.
Agreed.
Certainly in the Premier League, because there's a lot of pride associated with beating your rivals. And go ahead.
All right, I'm just making sure I'm just making sure that we haven't lost any comments. First time in a few seasons, we're in a transition season with a new director of football and CEO. Next season is probably where we'll see, wings. We'll see the magpies really flying. I agree. I think I'm thinking we will finish at least top half of the table. I would love to see us as high as we can go, but I don't think there's any shame in 6th or 7th in a transition year like we're in. And then playing as well as we are in the Champions League. I mean, we're in 6th right now. If we can continue to keep that form, there have been some who have said we haven't played any good teams in the Champions League. I wouldn't say that Benfica are bad. They're not performing well in the Champions League, but they're not bad. We played against a Barcelona team that was a tough loss, but we played well. I thought we played well. The knockout stage is worth 90 million. Yep. So I mean, there you go. It said, is there a keeper in winter? I think Edward. I think we'll see us move to make Aaron Ramsdale's loan a permanent transfer. I think they want to tie him down. I think they can see there are some holes in Eddie and in Nick Pope's play that we need to rectify. Again, he's not getting any younger. I fully expected that he was going to be the make weight in a move for James Trafford. Burnley, he would go back to Burnley and we'd get James Trafford. Well, that hasn't worked out for James Trafford, and that's and it's a ridiculous argument. Do you want to then be as No, we do not.
When I think of this January window, I hope it doesn't go like the summer window where it seemed like the league or every team was conspiring against us, and all this. Oh, I don't want to play in Newcastle stuff that, people were proposing. It was like that, that just, I don't know. It just didn't go right. We didn't get our first or second choice in a lot of these players, but we ended up doing okay before injuries hit us.
I think we need to reach out to some of these, we've seen a lot of former players in the press in doing interviews with local magazines in their homes, like Colaccini and Johan Cabai and and Jonas Gutierrez while he was on Tyneside. We've seen so many of them speak so highly about Newcastle, about the community, about the region, how this BS about it's London or bust for everybody, or I will only play for Manchester United because it's Manchester United and everything. I think we need to impress. I think we need to reach out to those guys. I think we need share those opinions more often. I think, your Kevin Nolans, your, who has spoken highly, John Joe Shelby, who loves, he considers himself to be, an adopted Geordie because they have settled so well in this region. I think that needs to be played up more by the club. I think the club needs to use that, that positive press very much. And then, let's see what happens when the FA Cup starts, because that's going to be another competition that we're competing in, that we're trying to win. Obviously, that's another avenue to the Champions League, guys.
True.
If we ended up in 8th, but yet won the FA Cup, we're in the Champions League. So
what was it, Tottenham?
Right, 17th and 17th, and
Yeah.
yet they're playing in the Champions League.
Yeah,
Yep.
crazy. Go ahead, Eddie. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Eddie.
What I was going to say, and it's early days with still in the league, and to say, it hasn't been great, but we're only 6 points out of Champions League spots right now, or Europa spots, and
we're 2 points above the relegation zone, but we're not out of touch of the Champions League spots.
So there's a lot of hope, and to say that we're in all these competitions and we truly have a shout to go far and potentially win any of those competitions is saying a lot about not only about Eddie Howe as a manager, but also about the potential for the club. So, with all the negativity floating around right now, the sky's the limit for the club this year. Yeah. And like what one of the comments was about our director of football and our CEO, once they get that administrative piece down, which a lot of folks don't think about, that lends so much balance to what the club is doing and with the mission going forward. The sky's the limit. We just got to survive this winter and get maximize points and go far in these competitions. And boy, oh boy, going into next season, I think we will be top 4 next season.
I agree. I think we just need to focus on what we can. What's the old adage? Control the things that you can control, and don't worry about the stuff that you can't. So, I think if we can. I know there's been arguments about we don't like spending in the winter because everything's everything's overpriced. I think everything was overpriced in the summer. I think that was everybody was getting fleeced. So I think if we're gonna do any business in the winter, we've got to do our business quickly. We've got to get those guys embedded in the squad, get them ingrained in the culture of what our dressing room is like, and get going. So with that, I mean, we're 10 minutes past what I expected we were going to be. And it's always a pleasure to see you guys. And I look forward to, I'm hearing that we're all going to be together again come the end of February.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
So, and I'm looking very much forward to that. Eddie, if I don't get down to San Diego soon, I'm the only problem is last couple of years we've had 18, 19-year-olds in the house, and now we've got a 15-year-old in the house, and I just don't feel comfortable jetting off and leaving her behind. One, and two, we've got 4 dogs, and we can't just let just anybody come in and take care of them. 2 of them are COVID dogs who only know the members of the close family and the people who come over all the time. So, it's one of those things, but we're overdue for a get together. I'm sad that neither Shade nor Richard were able to join us. I know I invited them, but it is the middle of their business day. So I said if the schedule was able to do it, but I think we've proven that we can do this, and I love talking to you guys. I just love spending time with both of you. I want to thank everybody in the comments. Eddie is the quietest Marine I've ever heard. Eddie is like that when you're on the road with him. You got to see that's because he's got a camera. You've got to worry about Eddie because he's like a ninja. He's in the corner. He's videotaping everything. I still haven't seen all the content from the summer series, and I know there was some goofy shit in there.
I'll get it sorted.
They don't actually shout hoorah. Great chat. Away the lads. Thanks, Benny. Edward,
lads.
thank you, sir. Well done, sir. Thank you. We appreciate that very much. Thank you, guys. Love you guys both. I will
Love you,
see
brother.
you. I will see you soon. And with that, I'm gonna say sayonara to everybody. Away the lads. Away the lads. Ooh. Last thing. Derby weekend. Derby weekend for the ladies. The Lasses
that's
play
right.
Sunderland at St. James's Park this weekend. Sunday, I believe it's a 6 p.m. kickoff, and I think we can watch it on YouTube.
Oh, really?
That's-
So Sunday,
I was at that match last year. It was good.
Yep. Make
beat 'em.
plans. Make plans to watch that.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for in the comments. Thank you, everybody who joined us, everybody who's been watching, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you.
Love you guys.
Good
Love you
seeing you
too.
guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye.